I took my dog and we did a little road trip, my first solo trip. It was a really cool experience.
I think it's brave. I don't say that in the sense of feebleness. I say that in the sense of, I think it takes courage just to go to a restaurant and sit by yourself.
You're going to be lonely and you're going to be sad. And then I was like, you know what? Why? I was like, no, I wasn't all 100% confidence, but I took measures to make myself feel more prepared the first day. It was this surreal awareness. I'm here with my dog and we're doing this.
And welcome to Love Always Self. I'm Shyra.
Hi, y'all. I'm Karista, and thank you so much for joining us on this episode of Love Always Self. Hi.
Hi.
I hope you're having a wonderful day. The weather is beautiful. We are edging deeper into fall. Things are changing. We're getting cooler.
The fall of Texas.
Yeah, Texas fall is laughable, but I love it because it's so inconsistent.
It is.
And I appreciate that. I like change. I like variability. Some routines.
Yeah.
Like you got to eat, you got to sleep, you got to poop. Hopefully you poop. And so obviously those routines, you got to do them.
Yeah.
But I'm not a huge routine person. I don't want to do the same stuff every day, every weekend.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
I can understand that.
So I like the variability and being able to wear a tank top and short sleeves and long sleeves and then a sweater in the morning.
The layers.
The layering.
The layers. My favorite part about this time of year is that I can actually open my windows.
Yes.
And get maybe a couple hours in the morning, depending on when I wake up, of fresh air in the house.
It's so nice having the airflow.
Yes, that is my favorite. Now,
just cleanse out your stank from the house.
the musk of the stagnant air. Oh, ew.
Of summertime.
My house smells better than that, I promise. The summer stank.
Sexy.
So lovely. That's what candles are for.
And incense.
Incense. True. Oh my gosh. I honestly, in the mornings, I wake up and I open windows, or Steven will open a window, windows, plural. And then on Mondays and Fridays, I get to work from home. And so I'll open the window next to my desk and I'll be freezing in the mornings, but I love it. And I like the bundling up aspect. And then I'll be on calls for hours, and it's my window is kind of noisy in my office, so I never reach over to close it. And so about 1:00 in the afternoon, it starts getting really hot in my office.
In the 90s by then.
We're back in the 90s. And so I'm over there trying to shove it closed while on a conference call and muting myself and having to pause the camera from being on. And I'm come on. But eventually we'll get to, I heard that this particular year is going to be a milder winter. That's what I've heard. Stay tuned for that one. But we are full of surprises down south. So.
Are we trusting the meteorologists?
Yeah, never mind. I'm going to take it all. I take it all back.
Let's get our crystal ball out, and that'll be
it might be a little more accurate.
as promising.
I used to do forecasting back in the day. I don't know how they're allowed to be this inaccurate. Anyway.
Well, isn't that the wonderful thing about their job, right?
Yeah.
Even if they're wrong, it's oh, well, Mother Nature.
Yeah. Sorry. Planet, Things change. Oh, my goodness. So before I ask you the how are you doing question, I want to catch up. I guess it's kind of both. It's kind of how are you doing? And she went on a trip.
I went on another trip.
I know. I'm living vicariously through her at the moment. So,
well, we've already been over this. I was doing the same thing while you were in Spain for 3 weeks.
That's true. But still.
Yes.
It's more recent.
It is more recent. I actually decided to go to Arkansas. And when I say Arkansas, I'm not trying to say anything negative about Arkansonians. Is that what they're called? It's not always the first place that I'd think of to go visit.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
But Arkansas is actually gorgeous. And so I took my dog and we did a little road trip for a week. So Nova and I, and we'll throw up pictures because, like they're my babies. So I took lots of pictures of my baby, of my little daughter. And so, yes, we took a road trip, drove up to Hot Springs, and then drove up farther north into the Ozarks, and we went hiking. We did like 23 miles of hiking in a week.
That's wild.
Which isn't that much if you like break it down over the course of like 7 days. It was only like 3 to 4 miles on average, but
that's a lot for me. Just sorry, but I'm gonna call my ass out right now. Okay, I just got this, and no, we're not sponsored. I just got this Aura ring, and it literally is tracking my steps, and it told me that on average I'm 0.23 miles a day, and I was like, what the fuck? That's how sedentary I am. So if I did that many miles, that would have like put me on my tail 100%.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I accidentally on the first full day committed us to a 6-mile hike because I decided to do 2 trails that were connected and I didn't look at it very well and I took the long way.
She said an accidental 6 miles.
I didn't do the maths of the 2 trails. But it was gorgeous, and we were beat by the time we got back from that one, and I was sore.
Yeah,
we were sore. Well, I don't know about her. She, I've been saying she is a firecracker just waiting for a light. Like it doesn't matter like how much she runs or how many balls she chases or how many miles we walk. She is literally a firecracker just waiting for her spark.
She's adorable.
She is.
I think her and Webster are cousins.
So that was our first or my first solo trip, and it was a really cool experience. And even just arriving there, like the first day, it was this surreal like awareness that hit me. Like, I'm here.
Yeah.
I'm not at home. I'm here by myself with my dog, and we're doing this.
Aw, I love that for you, though. I think that's great. And when you were planning that trip, like what was like some of the thoughts going through your head just to like do something like that?
Well, initially I was looking at going international. And so I was looking at Ireland. I've read lots of wonderful things that Ireland is very safe for female solo travelers. And so that was going to be where I went. And, cost was part of the factor. But then also like, why not do a solo trip here in the States? It just... where I feel a little bit more connected. I know how things happen here in the States. I know how to access medical care. My health insurance is valid here. Just little things, not to mention we're driving on the right side of the road, whereas Ireland's on the left side of the road. And so it just made sense to stay here in the States and get one experience under my belt before I expand outwards. But one of the things that I really focused on was making sure that Nova and I had enough outdoor time because I wanted to make sure that we weren't just in the car for, 7 hours straight, only stopping for potty breaks.
Yeah.
And, we actually stopped at a state park in Texas on the way out. So I wanted to make sure that we were moving each day. And one of the other things that I kept considering is where we would stay. And so I ended up renting a couple Airbnbs. First one in Hot Springs. Second one is like Ponca, Arkansas. And then on the way back, because I was farther north in Arkansas, it took 7.5 hours to get there, but then it was going to take another 10 hours to get back. So I broke it up in half. I used a really great app called Bring Fido to help me with that. And Bring Fido is an app/website. And they collect all this information from all over. I don't know if it's just the country, but whether you are looking for activities to do with your dog, looking for restaurants to go to with your dog, looking for hotels, places to stay, cabins, it has
all of it.
All of that listed out. And
I'd never even heard of that before. That's cool.
Yeah, it was very helpful. And so just taking into consideration her needs as well. with the Airbnbs, it was like the first place was just fantastic because it had a screened in front porch and it allowed me to sit outside with her without having to worry about her being leashed, because everywhere we went, I keep her on a leash if we're not inside or in our backyard. And I just don't trust her because she's so squirrel oriented. Sorry, Webster's right there, and I didn't want to
don't say it. Don't say it. I was like, he will. Like, we finally got him to sit down. I'm like, don't say it.
So she's very hyper focused on rats with fuzzy tails, and she goes nuts over them. And so I don't trust her to not just take off after them. So we keep her on a leash, and that front porch was just fantastic to sit out there and have the morning coffee or having a glass of wine at night, listening to all the night noises. Oh my gosh, it was so loud.
I got to tell this story. So I exchanged a text with her for a little bit, and I think it was your first night there, right? Mm-hmm. And I was like, I bet it's absolutely fantastic. And she's like, yeah, there's lots of night noises. And I was like, staring at my phone, like, oh, you mean like the cricket noises? Or like, no. So I need you to tell them what you told me about night noises.
So a lot of it was the insects, some other, birds, night birds, owls. Well, so, okay. The Airbnb, it was on a large property. There was lots of land that it had for us to kind of roam on there. There was still the house of the owners nearby, maybe like less than maybe like a half a football field away.
Okay.
And where the Airbnb was to the road was maybe about 50 yards also, maybe a little bit less, maybe 40. And right by that is this country road that I think only residents mainly take. And then on the other side of that road was another ranch with horses. I think there were goats and sheep, and I had heard dogs over there before. And this night, now these guys, I had heard them previously, but this night, I don't know if it was coyotes or wolves, but they were wild dogs of some sort, because you could hear the
howling. Yeah.
And not like a bloodhound, not like a regular dog, because I could tell the difference when the dogs started reacting
and stuff.
Yeah. So there was a big ruckus that happened, and you could hear it sounded at least a dozen, if not more, of this pack of wild dogs. I'm calling them wild dogs. I'm going to call them coyotes so we can delineate here. So this dozen plus coyotes, over across the road. Like, again, this is within a football field of me.
Yeah.
You can hear them like causing a ruckus, like, triggering other animals to make noises. I could hear like the horses moving and some other, I don't know, like sheep or goat or something, some chickens, because they had chickens also. So you could hear, and it's dark outside, all of these daytime animals making noise. So obvious to me is that these coyotes are trying to get something to eat. And all the other dogs start, barking, like the dogs that live on that ranch. And there's this ditch on the other side of the road that, again, I don't even think it's 50 yards. I think it's more like 50 feet. Like, it really is not that far away.
Oh, no.
And you can hear all of these coyotes like running right by the road, which my car is parked right there. And Nova and I were getting ready to go out for a final potty break before bedtime. And it was literally as we were stepping out that all of this noise starts moving towards us.
Nope.
And we were like, excuse me, Mom, I was like, nope, backing up. And we stayed on that screened in porch, just like listening. And Nova started to growl. And I was like, yes, that's appropriate. Now is the time. Yes.
Oh, I can't believe So she didn't tell me that for, I think it was a couple of days until you actually explained what the heck you meant by night noises. All I got were night noises. And I'm like assuming like, hello, we're both from Austin, Texas. And like
Crickets.
We get, they get the cricket noises. You get the occasional like hoo hoo from the owls and stuff.
Lots of cicadas. Yeah.
The cicada noises are legit in the summertime here. And so that's what I was at. I mean, I did definitely tilt my head at the night noises. I was like, that's a new way to explain that, but like, I didn't mean it was like that kind of night noises.
Yeah, it freaked me out. I mean, I'm sure that me going out there with a dog making noise, it would have like deterred them from coming towards us, but I'm not going to play that game.
No.
I'm not gambling that. I'm not going to test that theory.
I never understood in the scary movies.
I mean, not running upstairs in the scary
movies.
I
was like, every time I watch a scary movie and I was like, okay, Shyra, think about this logically. Yeah. It wouldn't be a good scary movie if they didn't do something stupid. Yeah. But still, in real life, why would you go investigate the danger? There is no need for that. But anyway, so
especially if they say the call is coming from inside the house.
No shit. Cool. Where's my car keys?
Bye. Call somebody else to check that out.
Yeah, no kidding, man. Seriously. Oh my gosh.
So that was a little exciting, but the second place, actually, I thought that the second place in the middle of the Ozark National Forest was going to be more night noises. And actually it was darker at the first Airbnb. And that was partly because the lights that were on the property, it was the bright white light versus the yellow light, but whatever, it is what it is. But at the second place, I got the coolest experience that I did not expect or anticipate, because those are the words I tried to say together. I actually got to see the Aurora lights.
That is wild.
Yes.
That is so wild.
I had no idea that they were going to be down that far south. My mom actually sent me a news article, and then she texted me that my cousin in Missouri was able to see them. And so she encouraged me to go outside and look, and I was actually able to see it was really wild. It was a little ethereal.
Oh my gosh. That's so beautiful.
Like if you weren't looking for it, it could have easily been missed. Like it wasn't, wow, like bright, My camera picked it up really well, much better than the naked eye.
Yeah.
And if you didn't know that it was aurora lights, it was red. And so it could it kind of looked like it could have been a forest fire.
You in the forest distance? Fires in your trips lately, huh?
No, thanks. So that was just really cool. I went back out later and it was gone. And then I went to bed because I like to sleep.
Yeah.
But some of the trails were just incredible, and I loved being outside. I loved disconnecting from my phone. I loved just being able to be in nature with my dog and watch her be so excited and get to have these new experiences, sniffing new things. And I'll give my favorite trail was at Ouachita Lake or Ouachita State Park near Hot Springs, like 30 minutes outside of Hot Springs. And the Caddo Trail, it was absolutely stunning. It takes you down this peninsula out into a lake, and you hike on both sides of the peninsula because there's a ridge line. It's really cool because they have these pictures of how it looked in like 2009, because in 2011 a tornado came through and like ripped up half the peninsula, and you can see like the changes in the landscape from where the tornado hit in 2011. Like you can still see the differences between the growth.
That's so crazy.
It was just beautiful though.
Honestly, some of the images that you had sent me, I was just like, what? That's Arkansas?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I tell you what, I unintentionally perfectly timed it for the leaves to start changing.
You got to see season changes.
Because we don't really get that
we don't.
much here. It's scorching and then cold.
And it's like super green leaves to like, they're all on the ground.
Yes. To naked trees.
To naked trees. To
You're
the
right.
Charlie Brown Christmas tree. And a little yard cleanup. And
Yeah.
they turn brown down there. That's where our color changes are. And there is one tree in my neighborhood that gets fiery orange. And it's really cool because like everything around it is green except for this one tree that has all the leaves changed to orange.
Yeah.
And that's the only
And it happens
one.
so fast too.
Yeah, it's like in a week and it's gone.
Right.
Yeah.
The speed at which the leaves changed while I was there was really quick too, because the first day that I got there, everything was like green with a little bit of yellow.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden all these reds and oranges started popping up. And I was like, that's stunning.
Yeah. That's one thing I do miss about not living in Texas is seeing seasons.
Yeah. And having like more reliable weather, I guess.
Yeah. Right.
The only thing reliable is our summer.
That's very reliable. It tends to last all the way through fall. So honestly, one of the things that intrigues me the most about, this trip that you've been on is, number one, your decision to do something solo. Because have you ever done a solo trip before?
Well, I want to jump in there because no, I haven't. But while I was very excited and, very good about planning and setting all this stuff up, the day before or, a couple days before, I was very nervous. And nervous more about whether my car was going to be safe. Even though we had gotten everything checked out, topped off all the fluids, I even had my tires filled up before I left that morning, like had the tires rotated, like everything. We took care of the car, but I was still like just a little worried that something was going to happen to the car. And not, again, that gives me a good, I still have a good support here.
Right.
Because it's not like I'm not a few hours away. And my mom has a friend in Hot Springs, so it's not like I didn't have somebody that I couldn't reach out to. But, I just wanted to say, like, I wasn't all 100% confidence.
Yeah.
But I took measures to make myself feel more prepared. So John helped me to check where my jack was, my tire jack, and we reviewed like how to do it and the process. And then, I got one of those little jump kits.
I love that darn thing.
We put it on there and like made sure I knew how to do it. So if my car died, I wouldn't feel as unsure because I had done it before or had like looked at it and put my hands on it. And so we did those things. But, I was still a little nervous. This was my first time, going that far away by myself.
Yeah. And that's I've personally never done. Now I say this, but I've driven long distances by myself.
Right.
But it was like starting at A, going to B, no stops in between.
Right.
I've never
and
done.
B has people that you're going to be with.
Right. And I've never done a solo trip, an intentional solo vacation. Right. And traveling alone, albeit with your fur babies or not, but like you are the only human.
And the only adult. Yeah.
Yeah. The only adult like actively going on a journey. And I think that number one, I think it's brave. And I don't say that in the sense of like feebleness. I say that in the sense of like, I think it takes courage just to go to a restaurant sometimes and sit by yourself.
Oh, 100%.
Or go to the movies and sit by yourself, and it's not for everybody.
Right.
I remember talking to one of our mutual friends and I was like, oh yeah, Carrie's she leaves town tomorrow. She's going on a solo trip. She's like, a solo trip? And I was like, oh yeah, I'm super impressed with her. She was like, me too. I would never do that. And I was like, I don't know if I have the patience to be by myself for that long. But like, I don't know if I would just be like dying of boredom if I would find entertainment within myself. But then I started thinking about it. But when you were like describing the environment that you were in, albeit not the night noise part, but like
Again, screen and porch. Made me feel safe.
Yeah. But when you were just like describing that feeling of like taking the hikes and sending the pictures and stuff. And I was thinking to myself, like, oh my gosh, I would do anything for that moment, you know?
Yeah.
And so there's some level of like, is this for you?
Absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely. And I think sometimes you don't know until you try.
And that was the other, yeah.
Yeah. Before I went, I even had a conversation with myself like, oh, are you sure you're not going to be lonely? They're going to prove you wrong now. Like, you're going to be lonely and you're going to be sad. And then I was like, you know what? Why? I was like, no, this is a week. I will be gone a week. This is not a lifetime. Like, it is a week. You will be fine. Yeah, I mean, like, how many times do I tell myself, oh, I wish I could find that boredom, that space for boredom?
Dude, seriously.
Because that's where a lot of creativity, like, flourishes, is when we're in that, when we get to that level of boredom. It's like, okay, well, what can I do? Well, let me create something for me to do. And so I was like, okay, well, I welcome that. I got bored once. I watched a 30-minute episode of the Mindy Project.
Oh my God.
And then I was like, okay, I'm good. And that was it. That was literally the only TV that I watched.
That's amazing. You're more of a reader than a TV watcher for sure.
But some of it was actually like the noise. You know, you kind of missed a little bit of like hearing other people. It was weird because that's not a me thing. For me, I'm like,
I was going to say, wow.
I miss silence all the time. But I think that speaks to the environment that I live in more often than not, right? Like, the silence is not something that I have frequently. So it was actually a small amount of time that I wanted a little noise.
And I think that sometimes speaks to our ability to be adapted into our surroundings. Mm-hmm. You know, I was thinking about this the other day. I'm used to the shuffling of Webster. Mm-hmm. Steven has a lot of energy and he's usually doing something around the house, you know, in and out of doors. And I'm more of the still person, believe it or not. I think I'm more I was telling my mom this. I was like, I'm more hyper in the way I speak and my thoughts than I am in the physical aspect of it, right? And my husband's more calm and cool and collected in the thoughts and the speaking, and he's more hyper in the physical aspect of it. And so in that way, we have this weird, you know, dynamic and balance that's also very much works out for us. But when he was gone to go visit his cousin, I think an uncle this weekend, I honestly, like, it was so quiet in the house. I found myself filling the room with noise of like the television in the background or playing on my cell phone or, you know, something like that. And then I think at one point I finally was like, Shyra, put it all away and just like pass out. Yeah. You know, and enjoy the silence for a minute. But for us, like, we are surrounded by these noises, especially living in suburbs and especially if you're living like in a city, because I've lived downtown before. When you get somewhere quiet, it takes a minute to like acclimate to that.
It does.
Yeah.
It does. It didn't take me that long.
I was going to say, it didn't even take you like 5 minutes.
No, me wanting noise was actually towards the end of the trip.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It was like the second to last evening. I think I had Top Gun on because it was playing and I wasn't watching it. I was reading, but it just like had it on in the background.
Gotcha.
And that was it.
Gotcha.
Yeah. But, you know, it did make me miss my partner, which, you know, sometimes we need to be like pulled away from things to appreciate things. Yeah. You know, it's like appreciating the light. You can't do that without also having the dark.
Yeah, very true.
And vice versa. And so it gave me some more gratitude for our partnership and our working together. What I really enjoyed most from this trip was the lack of stress. I was able to get up in the morning without an alarm. My only alarm was Nova. And most of the time, I would be the one that would wake up first anyways. Oh, it was the cutest thing. Oh my God. I loved it so much. I woke up one morning and I was the little spoon.
Take notes, Webster. My dog does not cuddle. He is not a cuddler. He will throat punch you before you get a cuddle out of the dog. So, like, take notes.
So she was like wrapped around my head with her like jaw sitting on the top of my head, and like her body was fully straightened out and like spooning my backside, like straight up.
She's like, I know Daddy's not here, but I got you, Mom. It's cool.
I loved it. It was great. So being able to wake up without an alarm, I had an agenda, which I had picked out different hikes for each day. And I think I actually picked out like 2 or 3 hikes for each day with the option to opt out if I wanted to. And so I'd get up in the morning. We would take her out for a walk. I would take Nova out for a walk, or not even a walk, just to pee and sniff the grass. Because again, I don't need a walk. We've got a long leash. Let her pull me where she wants to smell. And then we go back and we cook breakfast. And then we get ready, get all of our stuff prepared, get the doggy bag, because you better believe I got her a doggy bag. It's like a diaper bag, but for dogs. All of our water bottles, any snacks, and load the car and drive to the state park. And there was no time frame set that I had to do these things by. I mean, yes, there was like the check-ins, the check-outs, certain restaurants that I wanted to try. They would close, after lunch. But other than that, it was, what do I want to do? When do I want to do it? How long do I want to do it? Minus that 6-mile hike. And
that darn accidental 6-mile hike.
Oopsies. I just tripped and fell on it. I don't know. And just having that freedom to make decisions for myself with the only other person or being that I'm having to think about is Nova.
Yeah.
And it was so great because I didn't have to eat before I was hungry. I could wait until I was hungry and then address my hunger. I don't want to go to that restaurant anymore, so I'm just going to go to this one. Oh, what do I want for food? I don't know. That's always a conversation right at home.
Everybody has this conversation.
It's always a debate.
It's the only thing about being an adult that I absolutely dislike.
It's obnoxious.
What do you want to eat tonight? And I'm like, damn it, pick something.
Just pick something, please. Put it on my plate and I'll eat it.
See, I can't do that anymore, but yeah.
But it was really, really wonderful. By the time I was headed back, I was tired of driving, though. I will be 100% honest.
Yeah.
And I think Nova was tired of being in the car, although she was a great little car buddy.
She's so cute in that car.
Oh my God. She would just like start falling asleep, like with her little eyes. Sorry, I'm obsessed. She's like my favorite thing.
Poor Ryder. Ryder, I got you, buddy.
He's pretty great too.
I do love that dog. He's such a diva.
He is.
He's like the female version of Webster.
Yes.
A straight diva.
But yeah, I think it was really wonderful. If you have been thinking about going on a solo trip, like have any desire, I suggest do it. It doesn't have to be a week long. It doesn't have to be far, but just take yourself out and take care of yourself. Do what you want, when you want, how you want, and however long you want.
I definitely want to try it. I'm probably going to start small, right? Just like start like with less amount of time on the solo trip and just see how it goes. Yeah. But I'll probably do like a 3-day weekend or something, and just see how I feel about it. Yeah.
Now, taking Nova with me, I loved her being there. In the future, I do want to do a weekend by myself because she still had needs that I had to attend to. And so it wasn't just all about me.
Right.
And so with that in mind, I would still like to do another weekend solo trip somewhere.
I think that'd be great. I mean,
probably closer.
Probably closer
or a flight.
There are, I just found out, and it was a video I watched. There is this like Italian looking town near Dallas, but it looks like it's like an Italian village. And I'm like, wait, what?
Is it Rome, Texas?
Shit. No.
Is that by Paris, Texas?
None of those are anything like.
No. But they are Texas.
It's Texas. But definitely not like Italy there.
No.
No.
But I do recommend the solo trip. Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll definitely do that one day. And I'm curious if you guys, if anybody watching, listening to this episode, what would you do? Would you go on a solo trip? Comment down below, let us know. And if you have done a solo trip, throw out some recommendations. I'd like to find out like good places to go for solo travelers.
Do you know what would be cool is actually like flying to New York for like a Broadway show.
Oh my gosh. Now that I would do in a heartbeat. Like 100%. And I'm pretty sure we have a couple friends there and family. Gosh,
but that's not a solo trip. No,
there's no way I could go to New York and not visit them. They would kill me for that. So like, I don't know if I could ever do New York for a solo trip.
You just got to be sneaky.
Just go get in, never tell anybody, never post a single thing about it.
Which I have not done yet. So
it would be like a solo silent trip.
Have you ever been to a silent disco?
I have been to a silent disco.
I really enjoy silent discos.
The resort for your wedding had a silent disco.
Did they really? Did I miss that? Was I there?
I could have sworn you were there. There were a lot of drinks, but that night, but it was really fun. And they had the headphones and you put them on and everyone was just dancing around and it was cool.
So fun. I love it when they're in the middle of the street, you know, like at festivals and stuff. And you just see all these people just.
I know. Some people start singing out loud to you. And I was like, you're missing the point of silent, but that's cool. I love it. Keep going. Let's hear some more. We're going to record. Yeah. So anyway, comment down below. Let us know, like, you know, what's a great place to go. It doesn't have to even be in the US. Let's venture out. Tell us more about some solo trips that you've been on. And am I missing anything? I feel like I had more questions for you though.
We have social media.
Oh gosh. First off though, go ahead and hit that like, subscribe, notifications bell. Notifications with an S. And then head on over to our social media platforms. You can watch a lot shorter form of these content clips on Facebook, TikTok, YouTube Shorts, and Instagram.
Also, welcome to the new subscribers. We're so excited to have you.
I know. Hello. Thank you. Thank you. Much appreciated. Guess what else we have?
We have a website.
There you go.
lovealwaysself.com. You can find all sorts of goodies.
Yes, you can. And Carrie over here, in her millions of creative ideas, she has made a gratitude journal. And I absolutely love that gratitude journal. And yes, if you do go ahead and purchase it, we get a kickback. It goes straight back to this podcast because we pay for this darn thing with our own paychecks. So thank you very much for supporting this channel. We really appreciate it. And that's how you can do it.
I'm glad you guys enjoy our hobby too.
Yeah. Expensive hobby. So with that being said, we love you guys so much.
And we greatly appreciate you being here.
Yes, we do.
And don't forget to love first.
Love last.
And love always.
Bye. Everybody.
Hey, listener, thank you so much for taking the time to be with us in this moment. We hope you enjoyed today's episode and we look forward to our next connection.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow to stay notified of new content from Love Always Self. If you have any questions or topics you'd like for us to discuss, please hit us up on any of our social media platforms linked in the show notes below.
I'm Karista.
And I'm Shyra.
And until next time, remember to love first,
love last,
and love always. Love Always Self podcast is meant for entertainment purposes only. We do not make any warranties about the completeness, reliability, and accuracy of the information presented in this podcast. Any action you choose to take upon the information in this podcast is strictly done so at your own risk, and we will not be held liable for any losses and damages in connection with the use of our podcast. Any and all medical concerns should be addressed with a licensed healthcare provider, as well as any questions that may be derived from the information discussed in this podcast.